No, no, I'm just... Tell you to save my life, honestly. The officer out there leave?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Hey, what's up, Dave? Hey, can you hand me that here? What's the matter? That's supposed to be down there. I don't know.
Feet, huh?
Oh, yeah. Legal description of it. Mark? Corey. Great. That's it? Yeah. Yeah. Do we lose Dustin somewhere? Somewhere. Jeff, what'd you do with Dustin? I don't know where he went. There. Nope, there he is.
Get you some water today.
Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a short invocation? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. And we thank you for the privilege that it is to serve this fine community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm going to call to order the November 1st meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Gentlemen have had a chance to read the minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either approve or amend the minutes.
That's all. Hang on. Somewhere.
Motion to approve.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff Dustin, 5-0. Next item on the agenda is our Resolution 17. This would be the declaratory resolution of the, no, wait a minute, I'm sorry, confirmatory. This is, hold on here, I gotta get to the 19. Confirmatory resolution 19, and this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak on behalf of making the area hold on here, this should development area. So this is a confirmatory resolution on whether it will impact the economic area, correct?
This is a confirmatory resolution on declaration of the economic revitalization area.
Okay. Declaration. the confirmatory resolution on the declaration of a revitalization area in the on the property that Overton Industries is located on. Is there anyone from the public that wants to speak either for or against that resolution?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Mike Nellender with the Morgan County Economic Development Corporation, and Scott Bowie is also here from Overton Industries. We've been working with Overton on this expansion project involving real and personal property, and we support this request on the declaratory resolution and confirmatory resolution. We had the declaratory 2 weeks ago, so if you'd like comments from Scott, he's here this evening. He could address the values of the personal property, the real property improvements, and the job creation that you would expect as a result of this project. Scott, if you'd like to. Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Thank you to the council for letting us address the council tonight. So maybe just give you a little background on the project and what it is, and we can go from there. So Overton's been working with one of our customers that we've had a relationship for probably 20 years on bringing some stamping business from their facility in Ohio here to our facility. They made the decision to close their facility in Kettering, Ohio last year, and we quoted on work that they do in that facility now, as well as work. We do some of that work now at our facility, probably about 80 million parts for this customer a year. We bid on 400 million pieces a year in terms of production across several part numbers. We've been awarded 220 to 250 million parts a year, depending on what the volume is that they need to support those part numbers. And that business will be moving here in late December, January. We're actually starting to run some aftermarket parts for them now as part of this program. So if we didn't win that program, we would have lost a lot of tool and die work. So we bid very aggressively on the business to get it here. They're closing that facility down in Ohio, so we're transplanting jobs from Ohio to here. It'll be stamping as well as deburr and finishing these parts. And then from here, they'll ship out to their assembly plants in Europe, Mexico, another U.S. facility. So to support that work, we need to bring in the equipment. And if things go as we anticipate, we'll probably in 2024 need to expand the facility to make room for material storage and additional production equipment. So right now, we plan to start bringing this equipment in December and phase it in through the first half of 2023. It'll be a total of 3 presses between now and the end of 2024. So we'll bring 2 of those presses in, one to start probably before the end of the year, the next one early 2023, and that'll give us a total of 6 presses basically to support this work, and then we'll add another press to that, another press line to that in 2024 is the plan. So the real equipment totals up to be $798,000 in terms of manufacturing equipment, $24,900 in logistics equipment, and $33,300 in IT infrastructure and equipment there. And then as far as real property goes, we're estimating $1,100,000 in investment there when that expansion occurs. We've got room to bring this in for right now, but if we want to bring all of it in, we will need that additional room down the road. So, and obviously we're going to have time to get plans drawn up and everything else. We plan on needing about 10 additional people to do this work. That'll be in here in 2023, and then probably another 5 additional people in some point in 2024, probably the first half of 2024. So, and plan to grow it from there. So that's kind of a summary of the project and what we're asking of these 10-year abatement. So Any questions? Anything
Questions
I
from
can
the
address for
council? Comments? Overton and Industry has been a very good neighbor and corporate partner with the town of Mooresville. I know that through the years there have been changes in ownership, family, friend, never a foe, and we certainly appreciate all that you guys have done.
Thank you. We appreciate the council, and you've been very helpful in the past on other projects as well.
I need a motion to close the public hearing for Resolution 19, 2022.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Destin Shane, 5-0. I need a motion to approve conformatory resolution, and because I stuttered and stammered around there just a little bit too much, this is set up to be both the economic revitalization area confirmatory, and also that it does not impact the economic area as far as the taxing units on down in the text of the resolution. I need a motion to approve Resolution 19, 2022.
Motion to approve Resolution 19, 2022.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Greg Shane, 5-0. Now this is also the public hearing for the confirmatory resolution 2022. Thank you very much for addressing both the real and personal property. This addresses the personal property, the improvements that will be made in to the property, building, and structural, brick and mortar, if you will. Are there any comments from the public in regards to Resolution 20, 2022? Comments from the council? Need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye. Destin Shane, 5-0. I need a motion to approve confirmatory resolution 20, 2022.
Make a motion to approve confirmatory resolution 2022.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Destin Shane, 5-0. No, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate what you do for our community.
I was just talking. Oh.
Great.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the rezone of 205 and 207 East Main Street.
There's a lot of trees.
Thank you. I'm John Larison from Highway Engineering. I'm here tonight for Robert Stewart and Sean Stewart. They're the owners of lots 1 and 2 in block 16 of Moore's second edition, better known as 205 and 207 East Main Street. The Stewarts have owned these two lots for about 10 years. Over the years, they've torn down two rather dilapidated homes, and the lots have been vacant since that time. These are the two empty lots just over the tracks from the Circle K. Okay, I have given you a couple of handouts and also a conceptual plan. We did attend the October Plan Commission meeting, received a 7-0 unanimous vote in favor of this rezone. And during that meeting, we worked with the Plan Commission and agreed to flip the buildings so that they all face Main Street, so there will be no automobile traffic in and out on Main Street. It'll all be rear loading. You'll note the last page of your handout is a triplex house plan. Very nice triplex house plan, 3-bedroom, 3-bath units. Our plan is for 2 triplexes. We have just a very slight adjustment to make on the size of this unit. Actually, we need to cut each unit down by approximately 2 inches, and it will fit on these 2 lots and make the side yard setbacks that are required 10 feet on the side yards. We've got 4 feet between the buildings. Probably we'll put a sidewalk between the buildings, and as the conceptual site plan shows you, all of the traffic will come from the alley, the back alley and out. It's important to note that we are showing a 10-foot building line along Madison Street. Our original plan was for one of these units to face Main Street, the other one to face Madison, and for them both to load out onto Main Street and Madison. At the Plan Commission's request, we did flip the units. They are all rear loading, and in return, we're going to ask that front yard setback on Madison Street be viewed as a side yard setback instead. You have a 30-foot front yard setback in the R3 zoning district. We meet that 30-foot setback on Main Street, or our front yard setback. We would not be able to meet a front yard setback requirement on Madison Street. Okay, so we will be asking the town whether or not they feel we should get a variance for that. We're not fronting on Madison Street, but because we've got a corner lot, we want to know, are we required to meet that 30-foot setback or not? And then if so, we would be going to the BZA for that single setback variance. This plan shows 20 cars, parking for 20 cars, obviously 6 of which would be in 11-foot by 22-foot garages on the first floor of each building. A 3-bedroom unit is required, believe it or not, to have 4 parking spaces. We can do that. It's obvious that we could stack another row right there along the alley if required. Statewide, the trend is moving toward backing off those requirements that seem to fit the parking load on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve, Christmas shopping. But again, this is our conceptual plan. It shows parking for 20 cars easily. We could expand that and get another 4 to 6 cars out in what we plan right now as a grass strip there along the north side of the alley. So we feel like the parking is more than covered, and again, if the town would like to see more asphalt and more striping, we will do it. But 20 cars is a lot of parking for 6 units. As far as the zoning, I gave you a couple of aerial maps. I also gave you a little bit longer view of the zoning along the railroad track as it traverses through town. From the south end, starting with Fees Engineer, going north, you've got Jamie's Automotive, Core Fitness, Mayfield Insurance, Car Automotive, Circle K. The Church of God is actually the only property along the railroad track that is zoned R1, and it probably shouldn't be. The McGuire's buildings actually are also zoned R1, and obviously shouldn't be. I don't know if people still live in those units or not, but and then you've got Automotive Armature a little further north, and Allen's Welding Shop, Joe Rhodes Butcher Shop, Sunco, some auto detailing shops. So my point is, all along that railroad track, it historically not been residential. We think that a couple of upscale market rate triplexes would look pretty good in this area. It is an area that's really in bad need of some reinvestment. So we're here to ask for the rezone tonight and be happy to answer any questions you have.
The side setback and the parking is not an issue for us. I mean, not an issue that we can address. That is the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yep.
If it goes against our UDO, there's I don't know if we're expecting a free pass, but this
No.
board can't give that.
Yeah, certainly not, but on the other hand, we're working with the town in locating the buildings. We did have a plan put together that didn't require that setback. We flipped the units at the Plan Commission's request, so there's a little something there, I think, for everybody. And again, we're not against another 6 parking spaces. It's very possible to put asphalt all the way out to the alley. The grass strip's probably going to look a little bit nicer, and in the end, it could probably serve as an emergency spillover lot for parking. Wouldn't be desirable, but it wouldn't be asphalt 365 days a year either, so.
The 2 side parking spaces, the one against Madison, are you going to have something there? It looks like you've got blacktop all the way out to Madison to where that last car is in that 10-foot
Yeah.
section. How are you going to keep?
The edge of the parking lot got lost in my perimeter line, but it is a half a foot off. And I don't think it would be a bad idea maybe to put a couple of traffic bollards or some kind of a rail there. Not be a bad idea. Keep in mind, that's the right-of-way line. Madison Street's a little bit unique. You've got a 60-foot wide right-of-way there, and yet you've got a roadway that's only about 24 feet wide. So, and you can see to scale where it sits within the right-of-way. There's about 15 feet between the edge of pavement and the lot line.
Oh, okay.
That's not to say that, it's public and not for our use, but the road doesn't come anywhere near the property line there, the actual paved road.
Do they enter off Madison or the alley?
This plan does show entering off of Madison,
Okay.
and that's a 30-foot wide entrance. It's all very adjustable, very conceptual plan, and we're aware that we'll need to give the town a lot more sophisticated construction and drainage plan prior to any actual permitting.
And you'd have to get a variance as well.
Well, we will have to get that one variance for what is, we would like to be considered a side yard setback, even though it fronts on Madison. Yes.
Clarification was good, it's just the rezoning that's before you.
Are there any questions from the council?
I'm going to ask the attorney something because I'm not sure. I don't know that this is germane to a zoning question, but I want to just ask you. There's 2 lots here, so in theory they could be sold separately in the future. Is there any? I don't know if that issue was addressed as far as maintenance. If you end up with one by one owner and one by another owner, they're designed together, but could be taken care of very differently in that situation.
True. I don't think that's, I don't think that's germane to the rezoning.
Yeah, I don't either,
It
but
would be a factor that you could sort of think of in interpreting the Plan Commission's recommendation, but that, I mean, fair point, but I don't know that it bears directly on.
do you know if they addressed that at all?
Well, I'd be happy to chime in on that. We would be more than willing to, in fact, would be happy to replat the 2 lots to make that division line go away so that this is considered one parcel. That's another Plan Commission act, but we'd be happy to commit to that replat so that it would be considered one lot. Therefore, couldn't be divided, and unless it went back to the Plan Commission again. So, if we replatted, it becomes one parcel.
Are you meeting your side set, or your side setback between the 2 buildings?
No.
So you will need a variance there also?
Yes, and that's another reason that replat is attractive for us.
What would be facing Main Street, John? Would it be this view, or,
It is that front view,
I mean,
the
this,
top view, yes.
oh, that'll be
Yeah.
facing Main,
But what we did
those
was
are
we
garages,
changed
aren't
the
they? Or you
units.
changed the garage around?
Yes,
Okay.
and they will be rear load instead.
Okay.
Just didn't have time to
Yeah.
put you together another visual. But that is very indicative of what the final building will look like without the garage facing Main Street.
The windows where the garage door,
Yeah.
basically.
Same concept in R2, and a double of that same would solve all of your woes as far as setbacks and parking and everything. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood the
So
question.
if we took those from a triplex to a duplex, we could fit them all within our UDO.
Yes,
Okay.
we could.
Comments or questions from the board?
In this case, if we rezone, they would still have to go back to BZA for sure. If you change the parcel, would you have to go back to planning as well?
We would still, for the side yard versus front yard setback on Madison Street. Corner lots, that's just an issue with corner lots. Does the front yard setback requirement go away if you're facing and not entering onto the street?
To say it another way, a approving the rezoning does not change the setback requirements
Right,
in and of itself. That would be a separate consideration.
okay. I'm trying to stay in my lane here
Sure.
on what I'm doing, so.
The public hearing for this is actually the planning commission meeting. Is there anyone that's here this evening to speak on behalf or against this project?
Sorry, not for or against, but it's just a question. I'm sitting here thinking, Dave Snyder, 51 West High Street. Mayfield Insurance is on the west side of Madison. I think it's them, I don't know, but there's a paved parking lot just on the east side of Madison, south side of the alley. And I don't know who that belongs to, or if anybody, here.
It's Mayfield's.
Mayfield.
Okay. If I were them, I would wonder what's preventing people who live in these triplexes from parking in my parking lot and doing their oil changes and such. Not like I would ever do that, but, so just a question.
I think that could probably be addressed with proper signage and being aggressive on enforcing that. It is still private property as far as between the two. Comments or questions? Comments or questions from the board? Motions?
Motion to approve the rezone from R1 to R3.
I do have a motion to accept the recommendation from the planning commission and approve this rezone. Do I have a second?
Second. Oop. Give it to Greg.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff Gregg, 5-0. One question that was brought to our attention, just to make sure that we don't backtrack into anything. On the narrative on this, there was, don't know if that was presented at the planning commission, but if you next item on the agenda is a resolution. The resolution transfer to rainy day fund. I have no idea what I should have it on here in front of me somewhere. I know. Gentlemen, have before you Resolution 21, 2022. It is a transfer of funds under the IC code. This allows us to transfer up to 15% of our approved budgets. This document represents a full 15%. Questions or comments from the council? The motion to either approve or table or deny this resolution.
Motion to approve resolution number 21-2022.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Greg Dustin, 5-0. This will bring our rainy day fund to a balance of $1,551,593. in moving that, what we do is we allow that money to be used for any and all town uses, rainy day, emergency, or single projects. Next item on the agenda is this salary ordinance. Salary ordinance as presented to you this evening is presented in two forms. The first one is presented with a per department head wish list. That is in front of you, has the as advertised asterisk. Also presented tonight was the is the flat rate increase across the board of $2,500. Both of these are funded. There is some discrepancy on how much was put in by each department head. Nothing flowed evenly, so it's time to have that discussion. Jeffrey?
I have a question. When did we come across this $2,500 across the board? When was that discussed or talked about?
Was not discussed. If we go back to what we were supposed to do, we had our, like a workshop. I asked for public comment, well, no, we didn't have public comment on that one. But I asked for comments from each one of the council members. Nothing was said at that point in time. Then we had our public hearing. Nothing was said at that point in time. And going back through, I was waiting for the budget fairy to do the budgets, and it didn't happen. I went back through, and that's when I found that. The Monday, not the Monday before the meeting, but the Friday prior, so a week and 14 days, 11 days before, that's when I saw the differences between all of the different pays. Going back through, I made my recommendations or my thoughts, gave my thoughts to the clerk treasurer's office on here's where we can and can't move that. Also, at that point in time, also shored up the projects that I think some, if not all of this council felt like was important as far as a fully funded on an annual basis projects. And that's where we got to my suggestion. And that's what came before us at the council. I don't know when, did you notice there was a discrepancy in the pays?
Well, I just know we didn't discuss an across-the-board pay raise.
No, absolutely, we did not. And we also, I don't know that we discussed giving some people 4,000, some people 1,000. That's why I said, I noticed it.
What was in
after,
the budget they presented?
the one that's in the blue. Do you have it?
I do.
That one.
As advertised?
That one is the one that was originally advertised, not approved.
Right.
That's the one that we all had in front of us when we had the workshop. That's the one we all had in front of us when we had the public hearing. That one right there. And did I catch it prior to that? Probably not. I was looking at all the other projects. I did not go through with a fine-tooth comb, which I've done before, and I did this time with a fine-tooth comb to see where we were at. At that point in time, I know public safety is important. We've done this 2 years ago. 4 members of this council decided that public safety was important enough to make a major change and give a larger raise to our policemen. And we did that. This time here, I still think that every one of our employees is important to the function of this town. I know, the comment's been made that, we're not keeping our officers are leaving. You yourself made the comment at one point in time that it's not necessarily the pay, sometimes it's the environment. Sometimes it's the administration. We took a big step, and we've got an administration in there that we need to give them time to show what they can do. Self-admittedly, our administrator said that we had 30 applications for that job. Now, we may have only had one qualified applicant, but we did have 30 applications. It's good to say that. Not everyone can say that in every department, and not everyone can say that in every industry. Would I like to see everyone get larger raises? Absolutely, throughout the world. Do I think that we can afford it? I think we can afford either one of these. We will have to make some changes in the budgets, just within the funding throughout the budgets, because there were monies moved around out of some departments into others. Do I think the comment's been made that this is taking away money from people? It's not. It was never given to them. It was a wish list. It's no different than we cut the electric bill if it didn't come to that point. That's my opinion. If you look at it, and I know that you probably worked with Matt, you're the liaison for, you and Shane are the liaison for the fire department. If you look at that, we did not budget any type of raise. He did come to us and talk to us about either a flat raise of $2,500 was his plan B, or a paying a portion of the employee contribution to the 1977 police and fire. If we took the estimated revenue, took out our obligated expenses, figured in because we were trying to do this here, figured in the $4,000 raise, and left 2% funding in there to offset the employee contribution to the PERF. Now, like I said, we did not, and some of that money that has been moved around within the general fund budgets came from, we did not put in our advertised budget, and yes, I did not catch it. We had 2 meetings, and I don't know if any of us caught it. You guys may have seen it as the liaison and working with him, but we had no money for raises built into that first advertised budget. None.
Well, I think their raise was going to be us paying their portion of the pension would be their raise. I think that's what he was, is that right, Chief Dalton?
Correct. Basically, it's going to be giving us back in our pocket. Instead of us paying that out, the county's going to be paying that out.
So I think that's what they're considering their raise will be.
We paid that out of Lowit. There was nothing in their budget added to that for that, and we would be overspending the Lowit if we went above the 2%. But that's what was left in the local optional income tax for public safety. I know you fought this. I mean, not this, but I know you fought this whole let's fund a raise. I know you have fought it in the past, and been on the bad side of it. A bad economy. I know you fought it, and we fight it every year. I have, you and I talked about this, and you and I just disagreed fundamentally with it, and I get that. I understand.
That's all I had.
Shane?
I look at it a little differently. I think there is a dilemma inherent in this because my view is from a public hearing standpoint. The budget that was presented in the workshop and subsequently the public hearing was the department head requests. And we saw their requests. They were different amounts. In the case of the fire chief, it was a different method towards a raise. It was a percentage of the PERF. So that's what the department heads themselves requested. I didn't ask questions other than to say in the last meeting I did ask if the total budgeted salaries was the same in either scenario, and Paige from Baker Tilly verified that it was, and I think he verified it was as well. So I have issues with the way raises have been given in this town for the last decades because this flat dollar amount deal creates, in my view, inequities for both employees and taxpayers, because you end up with positions that I believe could, and I haven't seen a salary study, we were supposed to get one, but we didn't. You have some positions that could end up paying more than market rate.
Mr. Williams, there was a salary study shared with all the town council members that Ames,
When was that?
that was in 21. I got an
Well, this
email
is
where that was sent
22.
out to everyone. So there was a salary study that I participated in, so we could get that data from the state.
Okay, well, this council authorized Dustin Stanley to get one done, and we never got it. And that's, to me, old. That's old, but anyway. I didn't interrupt anyone else speaking. It's always me that gets interrupted. But anyway, the department heads submitted what they submitted. So to finish my thought, you have, what ends up happening is you have some physicians getting paid more, and then you have what's happened to public safety, where they go from the highest paid department in the 90s to one of the lowest paid, and then you have pressures from other departments to poach officers. I think it's clear. At both the public hearing and the workshop, none of the department heads complained about the others' proposals. No one in the public came and complained about the proposals that were available. They were available on the podium. So I think it's disingenuous to say that we weren't aware that there was discrepancies in the salaries, because that's what was presented to us and to the public. So I don't care for changing things after the fact, or after the point at which the public can comment. So I fundamentally have a problem with that. Now, what you're seeing, and I think you just saw with the clerk situation, you have a department head there fighting for her own employees. And that's what department heads do. They should fight for their employees. So no matter which way we go, in one scenario, the police and fire get cut to make it so that the rest of the employees get the same amount. So if we go with that route, we're going to tick off the rest of the employees, make them feel less important, and that's kind of where we're at. I understand both sides. I really do. But I think that I tend to lean to what we advertise to the public and what they had a potential to comment on. Now, I also think if you look at other communities around us, when we got COVID relief funds, most communities around us showed they valued their employees. This council didn't do so. They took some of that money and gave a bonus to employees. So I think that there's a way to maybe even up, to go with the first alternative where department heads submitted it and we go with what they say. Maybe in the new year, look at how we budget raises, maybe on a percentage based, or something that's fair across the board and equitable based on salary studies. So, but a bonus in the future might help offset some of that if we were to go with alternative one, which is what department heads sent in. So that's my 2 cents.
Greg, comments?
Well, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. I like the 2,500 across the board because it gives everybody the same thing, and my thoughts come back to the general public. Most of them won't see anything probably for the next 2 or 3 years in the climate we're in. At least we would be taking care of everybody equally. I know that's probably not the popular choice with some people, but it's just, I don't know. Gives everybody the same thing.
Justin?
Props everybody up.
I actually like the percentage idea. I do.
I know it's going to be a pain, and, you know, I'm not going to be on the council next year, so it can be a pain next year. They, you know, some employees did reach out. They expressed, obviously, everybody wants more money. I can understand that. There's food on the table and times where food's pretty pricey. So, honestly, I had a decision until today, speaking with some of our employees, that may have changed my decision. So, I'll leave it at that.
You guys know how I feel. I submitted that. I felt like it was being unfair. I felt like we had some department heads that maybe didn't put as much in there, thinking that they needed to walk back their budget a little bit. We had a department head that we cannot fund their budget at all, and or we can fund it at all. We can't fund it completely, and they were more conservative with their requests. Trying, in my mind, agree to disagree, in my mind, trying to be fair with everyone. I've not been in your shoes, and I will give you that. Yeah. I need a motion to approve either ordinance, or we can table for another day. This does not have to be passed tonight. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I would also clarify it's an ordinance, so it typically require multiple readings unless you were to unanimously vote to suspend the rules and adopt it on first reading. That's regardless of which alternate of the ordinance that you have, that you move to approve.
Gentlemen, I need a motion.
I mean, I think we've had a lot of discussion, and I can respect both sides, but our jobs are not equal. You know, I mean, they're not. So across the board, I don't. I agree with the percentage rule. I think this year I'm in favor of the ordinance as advertised, and that's in the form of a motion.
We have a motion for as advertised. Jeff, do I have a second?
Wouldn't you need a motion to suspend the rules first to be able to vote on the ordinance, or do you do it in the other option?
Yeah, it may be good to clarify your motion, whether that's to suspend the rules to consider that version of the ordinance for adoption this evening, or to simply propose that be the ordinance given first reading this evening with subsequent readings to come at your next meeting.
Right, that's not the suspend the rules, that's first reading, and that's the ordinance I chose.
I think the motion is to move forward on that version of the ordinance, consider this the first reading,
And yes,
to then be on the agenda for next meeting.
motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need another motion or a motion to table.
So can we go ahead and, I mean, we're outnumbered, so can we go ahead and suspend the rules and just move forward tonight now, or just leave it?
You could still move to suspend the rules. That takes a unanimous vote of the whole council to vote to suspend the rules to adopt an ordinance on
Right.
first reading. That would be a separate motion.
Has to be unanimous.
To suspend the rules has to be unanimous, yes.
It won't be unanimous.
But realizing that that it's a separate motion from the substance of the ordinance itself. That's just a rules-related motion.
Right.
I need a motion to either approve as across the board or to table. Or to come up with a better plan.
Table. Till we
Sorry.
get more,
Say it again.
say I'd make a motion, we table it at this point.
Okay.
I'd like some more time to get into it.
Motion been made to table. Do I have a second?
So this motion is to table both ordinances to the next meeting.
No, because this one failed.
Well, it wasn't voted down, it died due to lack of second.
No, ours was voted down.
Oh, they did, yes, you're correct. So it would only forward the next motion, or the next,
If we can come up with a better plan, so be it.
okay, I'll second the motion to table.
I mean, I'm torn.
Okay.
I'm really torn.
It's a hard decision. I'll give you
Motion
that.
made and seconded. All in favor to table? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion made, Greg, seconded Shane, 3-2. Justin and Jeff against.
We move on.
Is it 22 or 23?
So you voted against the table?
Is it 23? Before us is resolution of Mooresville Planning Commission approving amendments to the declaratory resolution and development plan for the economic development area. Matt, you kind of had a little bit to do with this. This is actually creating an economic development area where the Casey's gas station is on 144. It is for possibilities of future use of that property within the fire department. And this is just the latest groundwork. This is also setting up the plan for possibly funding a training facility for the fire department, and also setting up the possibility of funding the fencing around the police station by the redevelopment board. This had to go before the before the redevelopment board, and also before the planning commission to create this economic development area. Are there any questions? Motion to approve Resolution 23, 2022, amending amendments to the declaratory resolution and development plan.
Real quick, Tom. We did this together. It's pretty premature. It was the direction of the redevelopment commission that we try to just amend the plan because attorneys are really expensive, and amending it once versus twice, yes, he's very expensive.
Nothing to do with this.
So it's very premature. Nothing's really set in stone except for most of the work for the police station. So nothing about fire. I don't think you've heard from Casey's or anything yet. So very, very premature. It's just I don't
Doing this one shot.
want to spend any more money on.
Council understand that?
I was not involved with this whatsoever, so.
Law school.
I don't represent the redevelopment commission, so
And plan,
no comment beyond that.
Best and Plan Commission's already
Yes.
approved this, so it looks
Yeah.
like, okay.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-2022.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? It's buying a fence for the police department.
Second.
There we go. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained.
I was told by this attorney.
Abstained.
You don't have to abstain. You can't abstain. You don't have to abstain.
I will stay out of this
Abstained
fight.
because of his position on the redevelopment board. Reports. Not everybody at once. Anything?
I just did our stats real quick. We've had a total of 176 runs for last month. This actually puts us up about 186 runs above last year's time frame. Other than that, I have nothing further. I'm sorry, I do have one other thing. We did bring in about $800 in the surplus from the school's auction. That was brought in and gave over to the town hall to put into the general fund. Other than that, I have nothing else unless you have any questions.
Hey, thank you for, I'm sorry.
How much did the fog machine go for before Halloween?
$40, I believe.
Thanks for all you did for Chief Metzger, by the way, and your travels and all the people that went with you.
That was awesome.
And I think you are doing a great job with your social media, informing the public of what you're doing at the fire department. I think it's a really, really well done job.
I have to put credit to Lieutenant Nick Snodgrass on that. He's taken it with stride and making it really get out there.
The public really likes, I can tell they really enjoy seeing the posts of training and all the things that the fire department's doing for the community, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I just have a couple things. First of all, I met with the individual from Enterprise Rent-A-Car today that you sent me, Mr. President, about the lease program that they offer, and we're going to do an evaluation on that. It looks like it might be a pretty good deal. The thing was that he said we had to also include maybe some non-police vehicles in it, so that's why I asked Dave Moore how many vehicles they bought, and maybe get another entity involved in purchasing through Enterprise. They track all the maintenance, the fuel usage, they use the same, they're tied in with the same fuel cards that we have. And so he said that if we needed a vehicle within a week, he could probably get it because they have a pretty far-reaching grasp, so.
Keep in mind, that was a cold call that started about a year ago from them. I directed them to our then chief, and they had worked together pretty well, and then they changed representatives. I think he's new to this area. When he reached out, that's why I sent him to you. I wasn't pushing responsibility, but I did explain to him today when he called that that's not our job. Our job is to fund you, and your job is to do.
Right, and they do a lot of evaluations on our fleet during when we have them, and they can advise us to when maybe we should get rid of some vehicles that are going to cost us money in the long run. And like I said, they have a portal that we'll have access to track fuel, maintenance, and all that. So, secondly, I went ahead and contacted the Premier Canine, which is the canine seller that I'm going to use for the canine program. I'm hoping to encumber those funds until next year because she said since I contacted her now that we'll be eligible to get a dog in the spring. If I had waited, it would have been late summer before we could have gotten a dog. So there's a pretty long list.
Can they invoice us?
She's going to send me yes.
Okay.
So they need $1,000 down to keep our place in line, which if I have to, I'll use part of the money out of my drug fund for that, since they're going to be narcotics dogs anyway. To hold her place in line, but this company
goes all over the world and trains dogs and trains handlers. So they get dogs from South America and from Europe, and they're good quality dogs, they guarantee them. So I talked to her just today, and she's going to send me a quote for a drug-only dog, and they also train the dogs to track and not bite, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. So if we have an elderly person that with dementia or something that gets away, we need to track them. The dog's not going to bite them when they find them. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. And one other thing. We have 2 candidates right now that we interviewed that we're going to move forward. They're going through their perf stuff right now. They're both ILEA certified, so one will be able to start fairly soon because he's on the 77 perf. The other one's on civilian perf, so we'll have to put him. He has physically has to do physical and mental evaluation, and so we're going to probably have we're going to wait till the next police commission meeting so they can interview them, and then we'll have a public meeting if they agree on what we have decided to present them. The other, some of the people that were that gave us applications have taken jobs elsewhere, but we still have several that are not qualified. They're not ILEA qualified, so we'll have to send them to the academy and equip them before they can work the streets. So we're still working hard on that. Doing backgrounds is pretty tedious on that kind of stuff. As far as the budget, and I know this is it's a conundrum for you. You know, a lot of departments, Beach Grove just gave a 12% raise, South Bend 16% over 3 years. I just have to keep people, and that's why we had a variance in the pay, and you and I spoke about that. I mean, my young officers are the ones that can leave. My older guys are here. You know, they're going to stay, and that's why we try to take care of the young guys. You know, it's all a money game at this point. It's not like it's not like it was 10 years ago. We don't have people standing in line to come out here and take a bullet in the face when they stop a car protecting the town. And so the least we could do is try to take care of them while they're alive, and pay them well enough where they can feed their families. The cars and the body cams are not going to feed their families, and that's. I mean, you hired me to run the department, and I agreed with. Although Chipman set up the budget, I tended to agree with. Through my experience, that's what we're going to have to do. You know, IMPD's offering a $10,000 bonus just to sign on. So, although we're a small town, we're getting a lot of drugs off of 67 that could be coming into town. We still have problems in town, and every day that my guys go out there, they have a chance of getting killed. And, you know, through my career, we do a really good job of honoring officers when they die, you know, but we have a hard time doing that before they die. You know, I try to take care of them now and not after something bad happens. So that's something to consider. I understand both sides of it.
You said 16% over 4 years?
3 years. Yeah. And with inflation being 8.5 or something like that, you know, I mean, you understand, you're in business, things have gone up. So, you know, like that's my 2 cents, I guess. And I appreciate you guys' commitment to safety and security and the police department on that. So that's all I have, unless you have anything for me. I appreciate the time.
Chief, just real quick, you shouldn't have to take money from your drug, you said drug fund for the dog for your deposit.
They need $1,000 and.
Well, you've got $25,000 in an account that's can be spent this year.
I have several funds, but I thought that would be the most appropriate place to take from because there will be drug dogs, and it's for the.
Okay, I'm just saying you have $25,000 in the canine fund right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but they'll need that this year.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I need to, and I don't know if I start using that money. From what I understand, it'll be gone.
No.
At the end of the year. No.
But you're budgeted for next year.
Okay. Either way, if I have to.
Well, that money is gone when you spend it. It's that particular money's gone, but you have.
If I have to front the money, you guys pay me back. I could do that too. So.
But you don't have to rob one fund right now to buy a dog, because you have $25,000 that's been appropriated this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, either way, I'll be talking to Diana about giving me a check when that time comes. Other than that, everything's going great. I love the town even more than I did before I got here. It's a lot less stress than I was encountering north of the county line.
and they've got a lot of problems up there. Just hope they don't move south.
Yeah.
So you stopping cars out in 67 there, I thought.
I do
that's
stop cars.
something else.
I gotta
I
lead
saw
by
two
example.
stops in
Yeah.
one day, and I thought, man, he's hands-on.
Try to lead by example. So yeah, and I got a good group of guys, and I'm just like I said, I want to keep them. And I'm scheduling some retirement classes, so they can start planning now for their retirement, saving money and investing money, and have financial coaches come talk to them. And we're also going to schedule CIT training, which is training for them to be able to deal with people with mental illness better. Nobody is CIT trained to my knowledge at this point, so that's one of the programs I wanted to start. I did do a community outreach with some of the faith-based leaders in the town. Seemed like it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met for breakfast, and it was a good meeting. I'm trying to hustle a chaplain, or two, and I told them they had to be volunteer. We don't really have a line item for them, so yeah. Other than that, I'm having a good time. Things are going fairly well, and we'll see where we go. And I'll keep you apprised on this. I'm going to work with Chief Dalton and them and see if we can't come up with some kind of crunch the numbers, and we'll present that in a number form so you can make a decision one way or the other.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that maybe you saw it on Facebook, but I did end up promoting 3 individuals. I promoted 2 sergeants and a lieutenant because we had those spots empty. So I promoted Daniel Inkhorn to lieutenant, Brock Chipman to sergeant, and Joshua Pope to sergeant. And Joshua Pope went to late shift. Brock stayed on middle shift along with Inkhorn. And so far, they've been very impressive. We started a program about a month ago. It's called Catch a Cop Doing Something Right. And I encourage my first line leaders to, anytime they see their guys going above and beyond, to let me know about it. And so we just made up some certificates and hand them certificates, and we're going to do an Officer of the Month type thing. Maybe give them a gift card. Seems to be doing pretty well. So,
Thank
all right,
you.
thanks.
I received a call from the county engineer today. Carlisle Street should be open. I went by periodically through the day to check on it. They were still working on it, but he did state that it would be open today at 2:30. So I'll go by tomorrow and check, make sure, I'll inspect it to make sure it's safe for buses, but he is an engineer, so I'm sure they did a good job. High Street,
Real quick, Dave, on that, what did they do?
it looked like they had some concrete forms and a panel that they laid in place and poured concrete over it.
And the county did that in-house?
I did see county trucks there. And those are the only ones that I seen there.
And it was just repair work?
Yeah, I think.
I'm just curious why it was closed for so long
I think it was a debate
so we're
on.
not a priority to them if it took that long just to do a repair and they did it in-house.
I think they did it in less than a week. But I think there was some debate on whose responsibility it was.
What do you think of the repair?
Pardon?
What do you think of the repair? Have you seen it?
I haven't laid eyes on it. Like I said, went by 3 or 4 times today and they were still working. I've been told that High Street will be open November 15th. It'll be a normal town again, so looking forward to that. I know we started the cemetery project a long time ago, but it's pretty close to going live. You guys will be pretty thrilled with that. We'll be able to bring it in, do a display, and show you what we've got going on there. That'll be pretty cool. And the last thing I have, the changing of the seasons, I had to order a part for our boiler, $6,500 pump. I think Matt's having trouble. They're having trouble at the park. So if we could revisit the HVAC discussion that we had February maybe, we might want to start talking about that again. We are in need of repairs. Any questions? Thank you.
Oh, hey, Dave, what about the lighting for the torches? I know you've been working on an alternative.
Yeah, so we got a kit in, the guys are working, a couple guys are working on the south torch. Yeah, it's very little money compared to what we were quoted, and we think it's gonna look pretty cool. It's gonna do
Really?
exactly what it was designed to do, to look like originally. So.
They've already started it?
Yeah, we've removed some of the old stuff out of there, and he started the install on the new equipment. You know, keep in mind, this is something they've never done before, so, but I could make a dig here, but I'll just leave that. But my guys are very talented, and they can do just about anything, so I really think that they'll be able to come up with a very much less expensive fix for our torches. So it's moving forward.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Legal counsel.
Yeah, I would ask for consent to move forward on some work related to a couple of different properties and collection efforts so that we can make sure that we keep those things moving forward.
That'll work. Do I have a motion to allow legal counsel to move forward with the items previously discussed?
Motion to approve.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Jeff Shane, 5-0. Else?
Nothing further.
Public comments. Do we have anyone that's signed in?
None.
Comments from the floor? Motion for approval of payment of claims.
Motion for approval of payment for claims in the amount of $772,088.05.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry, Jeff got it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Greg, Jeff, 5-0. Town council comments.
Have
Yep.
none.
Shane?
Just, Chris, the Parks Director there, she put out a post that you had 4,000 people at the Halloween hike, and over 1,500 of those were children. Is that correct? Yeah. I saw tons of positive reaction to it on social media and when I've talked to people in town. So I was surprised you didn't come up and pat yourself on the back a little bit. So I'll do it for you. It was people were really happy with it. Yep.
Greg?
We had a good time in the neighborhood last night. We probably had over 300 kids, probably because the park didn't do theirs. We had to go buy more candy. I want to commend Officer Leap for, he was the hit of the night out there passing out candy. And it was just great. All the kids were well-mannered. It was really refreshing to see all that. So I just, 2022 Halloween is in the books and a success.
Dustin?
Well, I want to allude to Jeff's comment, just a little offhanded comment about the bridge. It is election time. So maybe that sped up some decisions, so everybody go vote Tuesday.
Vote early, vote often. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
To address a couple of the items that Dave brought up, the bridge, everyone, let's give credit where credit's due. Legal counsel had got a little bit more aggressive with stating our position on how that was going to be funded. Someone may have been giving out candidates' cell phone numbers to ask who to vote for and what their position was on that bridge. I received a call from Josh Mesmer last week that said that they had done some research and studying, had a new product that is a polymer. It is stronger than concrete. What they actually do is they form up the hole from the bottom, they seal all the cracks, and then they shake that polymer down into it. The issues that they've had in the past are we have to make sure when we mill that street, or if we mill that street, that to pave it, that the paving company knows that it's in place, because it is harder than concrete, harder than lots of things. Diamonds, I guess. I don't know.
$120 worth of jawbreakers.
Did go over after Dave said that, crawled around underneath the bridge. They did use some interesting ways of forming it up underneath, but they are confident with it. I did request from Josh Mesmer a documentation of the product they used, how they used it, the date they did it. That bridge did fail while we had a bridge tax in place in the county. That bridge tax is about to go away. I'm hoping that that wasn't a Band-Aid to get us through that period. But we have all documented that the bridge did fail during the time of funding availability. So we will go from there. The HVAC, I was able to speak to Bill Roberson. The plan that we had originally presented, that they had presented to Dave and I, and then we brought to the council, as far as the way Trane had bid their equipment, kind of a QPA type thing, that they could come in and know that we are purchasing a product that has been bid to specifications at a accepted price. Legal counsel balked a little bit, but I think we're going to take another stab. I pulled the paperwork back out. Bill did say he had reached out to Trane and they were still willing to work with us. And maybe I am planning on sending that paperwork again, that documentation again, to legal counsel to have them review that. Our next meeting day will be Tuesday, November 15th. You guys want to do about 6:30? That is fallback. I think that's this Sunday. So
What time's it going to be next Sunday?
I don't know. 6:30. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. See ya.
You are adjourned.